Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer, RHTV Live. En zoals altijd streamen we live vanuit het mooie Maastricht in het zuiden van onze mooie Nederland. Yeah, so hello to you all. We are streaming live from Maastricht, which is in the south of the Netherlands, in our beautiful country. So today we're going to talk geopolitics as usual. And we're going to talk about the state of the world. And first, we're going to show what's happening in the Middle East, right? Very, very important to know what's happening in the Middle East. So we're going to take a look at Bethlehem. Now, for a lot of people, Bethlehem is like, whoa, where's that? It's in the Middle East. It's right over here in the West Bank. You have Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and other places. So, Bethlehem, there you go. Here we have Bethlehem, and what's happening in Bethlehem? Well, we're going to show you some images of what's happening there. And yeah, it's very, very good to know, right? So let's see if we can find. There we go. Bethlehem's bombed out nativity sculpture sends a powerful message. They had made a sculpture, right? The three wise men and the baby Jesus and this and that. And instead of showing that, they showed the three wise men digging up kids and stuff like that. Very, very powerful images from Bethlehem.
Christmas in Bethlehem, but it's not like you might expect it to be. No thousands of people turning up at Manger Square in the city, no Christmas carols, no festivities. Instead, a display of togetherness by Palestinians in Bethlehem, showing they are one with Gaza.
In the aftermath, a living genocide, ravaged, blood.
Separated by geography and Israeli military checkpoints, Palestinians in the occupied West Bank say they cannot isolate themselves from Gaza's pain. It's too much, says artist Tariq Salsa. A Palestinian Christian from Bethlehem, he was inspired to rearrange the traditional Christmas manger scene to represent those buried under rubble.
Virgin Mary in the historical Christmas story is joyous. Here she is, tilting her head down, and the baby is wrapped in a coffin, reminding us of the scenes coming out of Gaza. It's open for interpretation if you want to imagine the child being dead or alive.
The star in the Christmas story guides the three wise men to Bethlehem and has been recreated here, but now reflects the realities of Israel's bombardment.
These are the three wise men who have brought in expensive gifts to baby Jesus. Instead, they are holding white coffins. This represents the world leaders who, instead of helping people in Gaza, are sending them coffins.
12 months ago, it was a different scene. This is Tariq helping build festive cards for a Christmas parade that toured different cities in the occupied West Bank, bringing joy to children. This year, people in Bethlehem want to remind the world their children are being killed, injured, starved, and displaced.
This can be considered the most silent entrance of the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem to the Nativity Church in Bethlehem. Usually when he arrives here, this is basically the announcement of the beginning of the Christmas celebrations. Today the silence can be heard.
Adorning the Patriarch with a kufiyya, radio journalist George Qanawati says he wanted to emphasize that Jesus was native to the land, just like them.
We are here to pray, but also to ask not just for the ceasefire. Ceasefire is not enough. We have to stop these hostilities and to turn the page, because violence generates only violence. And the message of Christmas is not violence, it's peace.
Palestinians say the first day of peace will be the last day of Israel's occupation. Nida Ibrahim, Al Jazeera, Bethlehem, the occupied West Bank.
You see, there you have the problem, right? Palestinians cannot live with the Israelis, and the Israelis cannot live with the Palestinians. Peace on earth. That's what we need. We need peace on earth. No fighting anymore. Right? That's what we want. That is the goal that we are setting ourselves. We want peace on earth. We don't want fighting. We don't want war. We want peace. Right? Now, I'm not going to solve the conflict, but I'm just going to show you what's really happening. You know, you have two sets of people that don't like each other. The Palestinians see the Israelis as settlers, right, taking over their land, and the Israelis see the Palestinians as terrorists, you know, and this is an ongoing conflict for 75 years. And the West Bank is getting smaller and smaller, and Gaza is being bombed the hell out of, you know, out of this planet. It's really, really sickening. I'm not going to celebrate Christmas knowing that this is ongoing, right? Ja, mensen, hoe kunnen wij nou kerst vieren als er zoveel kinderen in Gaza het leven laten en ja, gewoon plat worden gebombardeerd door Israël, die er niet tegen kan dat Palestijnen ook in hun land zitten. Ja. Wanneer houdt het conflict op? When will this conflict stop? You know, I'm not going to just sit idly by and wait for Santa Claus to give me presents and stuff like that. You know, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to speak out. Now, I'm not going to solve the conflict, but I am showing you a piece of reality. This was happening in Bethlehem, right? Now, the Middle East, you know, 75 years of conflict, and if we look at Africa, we also see another conflict over there. We see the conflict in Sudan, right? Now, you used to have a government over there that was overthrown by the military and paramilitary forces, right? Now, the military and the paramilitary forces are fighting each other now, right? This is basically the war in Sudan in a nutshell. And the civilians are fed up. So the civilians are gaining weapons and fighting both sides, right? They're fighting against the army, and they're also fighting against the special paramilitary forces, which are fighting each other. You know, so you have a third party now, and they're fighting the other two. So we're going to take a look at some images from Sudan. Very, very important to know what's going on there. Here we see Sudan civilians pick up arms as RSF gains. That's a special military force, the RSF, gains and army stumbles. So we're going to take a look at this here.
Young Sudanese men raise their automatic weapons in the air as they join the fight against the rapid support forces. Some of them are just children. In videos circulating online, civilians appear to be picking up arms alongside Sudan's armed forces. New recruits forming a makeshift army, ready to replace a failing military. According to eyewitnesses, fighters from the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, have reached areas north of Sennar, a city where many of the displaced have fled to.
The mobilized individuals who answered the call of the army commander should be trained and armed under the control of the Sudanese armed forces to avoid seeing them converting into an independent armed group.
There have been reports that both the army and the RSF have forced civilians to join their ranks in the past. One thing is for sure, many Sudanese people have fewer and fewer options left: fleeing or fighting. Last week saw the fall of Wad Medani, Sudan's second largest city, now under the paramilitary's control. A turning point in the war. The army's retreat from the city left the country in a state of panic. As the RSF makes breakthroughs in the south, its fighters are reportedly stealing people's cars, cell phones, and raiding stores.
There is a massive movement as rapid support forces advance on Wad Madani and other Sudanese armed forces withdraw from these towns, often without putting up a fight. The panic of the IDPs and the local populations in these areas tells us that the rapid support forces have earned a reputation of plunder, of abuse, of massive repression against areas, population in areas they come to occupy militarily.
One of the few safe zones in the country, Wad Medani in Jazeera State was engulfed by violence in a matter of days. Up to 300,000 Sudanese have fled the city since the fighting began. As the RSF make more gains in Jazeera State, some are gearing up to fight with an army in disarray, while others try to escape, fearing they could be next. Ibtisam Genfoud, Al Jazeera.
So there you have that going on in Sudan, right? And very, very sad to see that there's no peace on this planet. You know, no peace. I thought we were in the 21st century, you know, a century of peace. Nope, it started off with a war, right? You guys remember Afghanistan? Ja, weten we dat nog? Afghanistan. Daar begon het allemaal mee. En ja, het is alleen maar erger geworden. This is the same as dropping a stone in a pond. You get these ripple effects, right? So if we look at the world and the wars raging around the world, we just showed you Sudan, right? We also showed you Bethlehem in the occupied West Bank. There we have Bethlehem. So you basically had the intervention in Iraq, right? 2003, there was an intervention in Iraq. But before that, you had Afghanistan. Now, what was the primary reason why people attacked Afghanistan? And people should know this, right? Wat was de primaire reden dat Afghanistan werd aangevallen? Oh yeah, I remember. It was September 11th. Yeah, what happened on September 11th? Well, people, it's been a long time ago, so we're going to take a look at what happened on September 11th, and let's take a look at what happened, and we're going to show you some images of September 11th. We will never forget.
We were there on the day that will live in infamy. Inside Edition's Matt Mahar was one of the first reporters on the scene.
Okay, a big explosion has just occurred. Everyone is running from the entire financial district now. The smoke is filling the entire area. Let's go. Come on, go, Brad, go. Stop shooting, Brad, go.
Cameraman Brad Waite captured moments never to be forgotten.
Mayor, any idea how this happened?
Not right now, not right now.
Correspondent April Woodard was already there when she encountered Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who was getting his first look at the disaster.
As you can see, there's debris all over. It looks like it's snowing out here in downtown Manhattan.
Cameraman Steve Shapiro found himself in the midst of the chaos as day turned to night. Shapiro recorded scenes of utter devastation. It was almost apocalyptic.
Everybody go down to the sub-basement.
He followed these desperate people as they sought safety in a bomb shelter.
We will never forget the terrorist attacks on 9/11. We will never forget that that was an inside job, right? You may say that I'm crazy, but I'm not. Where did Al-Qaeda come from? It was the Mujahideen. Who funded the Mujahideen? Zbigniew Brzezinski, right? The Mujahideen fell apart into three parties. You had the Taliban, the Northern Alliance, and Al-Qaeda. Now, the Pentagon hires these people to do these attacks so they can have a footprint in the Middle East, right? That is one speculation. We will never forget this, right? And very, very sad to see that a lot of wars have sprung out of this. You know, you have the war in Afghanistan, you have the war in Iraq, you have the war in Syria, you have the war in Libya. These are the ripple effects I was talking about, right? So, and another very deceiving thing which ended up in a war, right? The war in Ukraine, very, very deceiving what happened over there. In 2014, you had a flight that went over Ukraine, which was MH17. Now, a lot of Dutch people passed away during the flight, and very, very sad. We will never forget that, but we will never forget John Kerry saying that they have video evidence of the so-called separatists, right, that shot down MH17. So we're going to take a look at what happened there and what John Kerry had said. Here we have John Kerry, which is now the environment czar, right? Jet setting around, talking about the environment and this and that, oh, blah, blah. But first he was the foreign minister in the Obama period, right? And this is what John Kerry had said about MH17.
with whether you know anything new about the downing of this Malaysian airliner from intelligence information. What do we now know for certain?
Well, we know for certain a lot more, Candy. We know for certain that in the last month, there's been a major flow of arms and weapons. There was a convoy about several weeks ago, about 150 vehicles with armed personnel carrier, multiple rocket launchers, tanks, artillery, all of which crossed over from Russia into the eastern part of Ukraine and was turned over to the separatists. We know for certain that the separatists have a proficiency that they've gained by training from Russians as to how to use these sophisticated SA-11 systems. We know they have the system. We know that they had this system to a certainty on Monday the 14th beforehand because the social media was reporting it and tracking it. And on Thursday of the event, we know that within hours of this event, this particular system passed through two towns right in the vicinity of the shootdown. We know, because we observed it by imagery, that at the moment of the shootdown, we detected a launch from that area.
Oh, you detected a launch from that area, right. Well, I never saw the images, never ever saw the images. And the Dutch government says these images are top secret. You know, no one, they're classified. No one is allowed to look at these images and stuff like that. This is the weapons of mass destruction blamed on Ukraine, right? John Kerry is a big liar.
And our trajectory shows that it went to the aircraft. We also know to a certainty that the social media immediately afterwards saw reports of separatists bragging about knocking down a plane. And then the so-called defense minister, self-appointed of the People's Republic of Donetsk, Igor Strelkov, posted a social media report that bragging about the shootdown of a transport plane, at which point, when it became clear it was civilian, they pulled down that particular report. We know from intercepts, voices, which have been correlated to intercepts that we have, that those are in fact the voices of separatists talking about the shootdown of the plane. They have shot down some 12 planes, aircraft, in the last months or so, two of which were major transport planes. And now we have a video showing a launcher moving back through a particular area there out into Russia with at least one missing missile on it. So we have enormous sort of input.
No, we got images, right? We got images. The weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Yeah, they had weapons of mass destruction, right? Right? Shock and awe, huh? Rumsfeld? Yeah, at least he's dead, you know. Goodbye, Rumsfeld. Bye. Hope you burn in hell. You know, these are lies that they put on countries to invade. They use lies to, wage wars. This is what they do. Right? We also see the U.S. interfering with so-called NGOs in Serbia, for example, right? There were riots in Serbia. You had elections there, and people, they were against the outcome of the elections. And we're going to take a look at some images from Serbia. Ja, we kijken hier naar Servië. En first we're going to show it on the map so people know where it is. So it's in the Balkan. Here we have Serbia, right? not Syria, but Serbia. And Serbia is a very special country because they have a country within their country, which is called Kosovo, which is basically a region of Serbia, right? And they basically lost that region after the Balkan Wars, and many European countries were like, we need Kosovo to be a country, so they now have Kosovo, which is in Serbian eyes a region within Serbia. So they had elections and people were not very fond of the outcome of the elections. And we're going to take a look at what happened over there.
Rage on the streets of Belgrade as anti-government protesters call for new elections. A crowd of thousands of people tried to storm the city hall building, but they were pushed back by riot police.
People pushed the door very hard. Suddenly, the door caved in, and at the same moment, a large formation of police showed up with shields and anti-riot equipment.
The center-left opposition alliance, Serbia Against Violence, has refused to accept last week's parliamentary and local elections, which international observers say were marred by vote buying, ballot stuffing, and the improper influence of President Aleksandar Vučić. The results mean his governing Serbian Progressive Party holds a parliamentary majority. The president has condemned the attempted violent takeover.
For days we warned of this, alerting international parties. Many were refusing to acknowledge what was being planned. Our intelligence...
Now, if you want to know something about politics, there are snakes in politics, right? And snakes meaning that sometimes they're left, sometimes they're right. Well, this guy is a snake. He used to be the leader of the nationalist party within Serbia, right? And then suddenly he gained power, and suddenly he became a left-leaning politician, which opens the doors for the EU, right? So this guy is a snake.
Intelligence services responded, knowing exactly what the troublemakers were plotting. We won't let them destabilize our country.
Activists accuse police of using excessive force. Dozens of people have been arrested. Serbia is grappling with a year of political unrest, sparked by demonstrations against mass shootings, which evolved into protests against rising inflation and allegations of government corruption. Axel Zaimovic, Al Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the...
So you have that going on.
This was the first visit of a Brazilian head of state to Germany for more than 10 years. President Lula
da Silva is in, or was in Germany, and also very interesting. We need to keep an eye on that, right? So you have a left-leaning German parliament, and now you have a left-leaning Brazilian parliament, and they're, visiting each other and stuff like that. You know, it's gross, it's disgusting, right? These people dying over the bodies of many, many dead people. Disgusting to see what's happening around the world. But this is happening. This is the frame of reality that we're giving. And we're also going to show you guys the king of the Netherlands. And let's see what he has to say. Every year, the king comes out with a Christmas speech, right? And let's see what the king has to say about the Netherlands.
Wij vormen dit land samen. En het is nog steeds een van de allerbeste plekken op de wereld. Vrede op aarde. Dat vooruitzicht is de essentie van het kerstfeest. We vieren de geboorte van een kind. Een nieuw begin voor ons allemaal. Het is moeilijk te geloven voor wie het wereldnieuws op zich laat inwerken.
So he's saying that, Christmas is celebrated by the birth of a child, and the messages in the world, it's very hard to believe that we want peace on earth.
Waar ooit de kribbe stond en de engelen zongen, staan mensen nu fel tegenover elkaar. Er zijn diepe wonden geslagen en vrede en verzoening lijken verder weg dan ooit. De schokgolven in Israël en Gaza, maar ook in Oekraïne, Afrika en elders in de wereld, bereiken ons ook hier. Geen dijkverhoging die ons daartegen kan beschermen. De gewelddadigheden daar leiden tot spanningen hier. Veel mensen voelen zich bang.
So the violence that happens outside of the Netherlands also comes here. There are tensions. Many people are siding for Palestine, right? And having demonstrations and this and that, disrupting the country, basically. And the Netherlands is also in a very big crisis. We don't have a cabinet yet, so there's no political... in Nederland zou je zeggen, er is geen vooruitzicht. Ja, we zien het horizon, maar we zien niet voorbij de horizon. Ja, we see the horizon, but we don't see past the horizon. And we don't know where we're going, which way we're going. The Netherlands is a very left-leaning country. And now we have a right-leaning party that has the majority of votes. And we have other political parties that don't want to cooperate with the right-leaning party, right? And it's very hard to see what the future will bring. So...
En er is dicht bij huis nog zoveel meer dat onzeker kan maken. Velen hebben het idee dat we elkaar aan het kwijtraken zijn. Je snapt soms niet meer wat anderen bezielt. Zo dichtbij. En toch vaak vreemden voor elkaar. Wat kunnen we hier zelf aan doen? Het kerstfeest is een moment om eens in de spiegel te kijken. Een moment van bezinning. Dat begint bij de vraag wat vrede op aarde eigenlijk is. Gaat het om harmonie, de afwezigheid van oneenigheid en strijd? Ik denk van niet. Vrede is geen gezapige rust, geen collectieve winterslaap. Vrede is het vermogen om conflicten beheersbaar te houden. Tegenstellingen horen erbij.
So the king is talking about peace. Peace is not resolving the conflict. It's making the conflict smaller, and So that's basically what the king is saying. And it's very, very sad to see him in this position of power, and basically have no idea of what's going on around the world. But he does notice the violence over there and over there and over there, You are a king, right? If you want to represent your country, you go to the Middle East and you talk to Netanyahu and talk to that Abbas guy that's been in power for more than 20 years, and resolve this issue. That's what a king is supposed to do. No, you're sitting on the sidelines and saying, oh, we need world peace. There are many conflicts. Come on, use your power. Use your power for good.
Ze houden ons wakker en zorgen ervoor dat vergeten belangen aan bod komen en dat nieuwe oplossingen een kans krijgen. Zonder tegenstellingen geen vooruitgang. Maar de manier waarop we mee omgaan is alles bepalend. Er zijn regels die voor iedereen gelden. Wij Nederlanders kennen een democratische rechtsorde. Die geeft ons houvast en zekerheid. Discriminatie, in welke vorm dan ook, is uit den boze.
So the king is basically saying we have a democratic society and we have our justice department and stuff like that. Everything's A-okay, you know, nothing is happening. It's all democratic, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's embarrassing to see this guy.
Het intimideren, bedreigen en schofferen van mensen is buiten de orde.
Oh, het intimideren, schofferen en buitensluiten van mensen is buiten de orde. Wat hebben we nou afgelopen tijd gezien met de coronaperiode? Weten we dat nog? So the king is saying you're not allowed to discriminate and this and that. You're not allowed to keep out people and stuff like that, you know. But what did we see the last few years in the Netherlands? People were left out of society because they did not have a jab or did not have a QR code and stuff like that, you know. So, and the king says, if you use these tactics, you are against the democratic society that we live in.
Wie daarvoor kiest, verlaagt zichzelf en beschadigt onze gemeenschap.
En beschadigt onze gemeenschap. Oh. Wie heeft onze gemeenschap beschadigd? Who damaged our society? Right? Who did that? That was Rutte, Mark Rutte, who's still basically the prime minister, even though he's interim. He doesn't have the legislative power anymore. So, you know, we still need a new cabinet. And when we have a new cabinet, Rutte will be gone. Maybe he'll go to NATO or some other institution. You know, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. The king will provide that for him.
Als de grote wereldproblemen onze krachten te boven gaan, kunnen we in ieder geval wel zorgen dat we in eigen land vreedzaam samenleven en tegenstellingen overbruggen. Dat vraagt iets van de manier waarop we met elkaar omgaan.
Dat vraagt iets op de manier waarmee we met elkaar omgaan. Echt serieus. Als ik nou zou zeggen dat ik een filmpje laat zien van de koning, dan zou je iemand anders hebben die zegt van, nee, dat is niet de koning. Nee, jij bent een wappie. Jij bent een wappie. Terwijl, ga je zo met mensen om, mensen die je totaal niet kent en alleen maar kent van het frame van consensus. Oh, die gast is een wappie. Oh, die gast is een wappie. Ja. Zo ga je niet met elkaar om in Nederland. Ja. Je gaat ook niet met elkaar om als overheid door mensen te benadelen, door te zeggen dat ze gefraudeerd hebben, terwijl het helemaal niet het geval is. Zo ga je ook niet met elkaar om. Je gaat ook niet 3000 kinderen afpakken van gezinnen. Dat doe je niet. Ja, dat is buiten de fatsoensnormen en zoiets allemaal. Maar ja. So this king is saying we have rules and regulations, and I was talking about the government stealing kids, 3,000 kids, more or less, from families that were basically put on a fraud list by the government, right? Ja, dit gebeurt. En dit is ook nog steeds niet opgelost. It's still not resolved. This is still an issue that's on table, and it's still not resolved. We also have a province, Groningen, which has had earthquakes, because we were drilling there for gas and stuff like that, and these people are still not compensated. And the earthquakes were in the early 90s, last century. Yeah, and it's still not resolved, right? Dus ja, Rutte heeft Nederland helemaal kapot gemaakt. Hè? En ja, Wilders, of die Nederland beter maakt, ja, dat weet ik niet. Ik zie niet in dat hij dat gaat doen. Want ja, hij is niet voor openbaring van WEF-documenten of Bilderberg-documenten of zoiets. Nee. Het apparaat moet blijven, hè.
Als we boos zijn over dingen die ons raken, zijn we te snel geneigd te denken, wie is er fout? Wie is er schuldig? Maar fouten maken is menselijk. Sterker nog, fouten maken en daarvan leren maakt ons tot betere mensen. In de luchtvaart is het gebruikelijk om dingen die misgaan niet onder de pet te houden, maar juist te delen. Wij piloten melden incidenten en misverstanden uit de praktijk, die vervolgens worden verwerkt in trainingen en opleidingen. Ik heb daar regelmatig plezier van gehad. Het helpt je om steeds een beetje beter te worden en maakt het vliegen nog veiliger.
Blah, 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 blah. Now he's talking about safety on planes and stuff like that. It's embarrassing to have a king, and very, very embarrassing to have this guy promote the Netherlands. It's like, oh my God, man, oh my God. As a prince, he didn't want to be on media and stuff like that, and we called him Prince Pils, because he drank a lot of beer, and was drunk, and I believe there is an article of him driving too fast, and oh, it's the king. Nah, we're not going to find you. Nope, just go on. It's the future king. Ja. Zo gaat het eraan toe, mensen. Deze mensen staan boven ons. Wij staan onder hun. We zijn ondergeschikt aan de monarchie, aan de staat der Nederlanden. En ik vind dat ik dat niet ben. Ja. Dit is niet mijn baas. Deze kwakzalver die gaat gewoon even naar Griekenland reizen als het hele land op slot is. So during the pandemic, the king wanted to go on vacation, right? So the whole country was locked down, and the king, he went to Greece, to one of those islands in Greece, and was celebrating a vacation. Ja, ik verzin het niet, hè. Ik verzin het niet. Dit is gewoon daadwerkelijk gebeurd. Dus ja, moeten we deze knakworst serieus nemen? Do I need to take this seriously? Right? The king? We are not a king. We are a republic. Right? That is what the Netherlands started off as, a republic. De Republiek der Nederlanden. Ja, kijk in geschiedenis, mensen. Wij hebben geen koning nodig. We hebben geen EU nodig. En al dat onzin. Allemaal niet nodig. Het hele machtsstructuur mag voor mij in elkaar zakken. En een nieuwe machtsstructuur daar neerzetten. Ja. Maar ja, dat is moeilijk. Ja, want als je het daarover hebt, dan ben je gevaarlijk. Dan ben je extreem. Extreem. Je moet meedoen met hun spelletje. Je moet betalen met hun geld. Je moet kijken naar hun media. Nee, wij zijn de media. Wij zijn wakker genoeg om te beseffen wie de echte vijand is. We are awake enough to realize who's the real enemy, right? So here we have Eisenhower's military-industrial complex speech, his farewell address. He warned about the military-industrial complex, and because of the military-industrial complex, you have the Taliban, you have the Northern Alliance, you have Al Qaeda, you have Boko Haram, you have all these other groups, fundamentalist terrorist groups. They're all sponsored by CIA. We know, right? So we're going to take a look at Eisenhower and what he had said during the farewell speech. But first, we need to rewind.
The element in keeping the peace is our military establishment. Our arms must be mighty, ready for instant action, so that no potential aggressor may be tempted to risk his own destruction. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II or Korea. Until the latest of our world conflicts, the United States had no armaments industry. American makers of plowshares could, with time and as required, make swords as well. But we can no longer risk emergency improvisation of national defense. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. Added to this, 3.5 million men and women are directly engaged in the defense establishment. We annually spend on military security alone more than the net income of all United States corporations. Now, this conjunction of an immense military establishment and a large arms industry is new in the American experience. The total influence, economic, political, even spiritual, is felt in every city, every state house, every office of the federal government. We recognize the imperative need for this development, yet we must not fail to comprehend its grave implications. Our toil, resources, and livelihood are all involved. So is the very structure of our society. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
That is what we are trying to do. We're trying to wake up people, right? So it's not that I'm against the United States. I love Americans. I love Americans. I just don't love their government, their foreign policy. If we look at military bases around the world, right? Let's see what Wikipedia tells us here. American bases around the world, list of United States military bases. We see in Australia, you have 4 bases. In Iraq, you have bases. In Niger, you have bases. In Syria, and other places in and around the world. This is just America, but it's really sad. This is how you make Pax Americana, right? Peace under America. So in Belgium, in Bosnia-Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Cameroon, Germany has many U.S. bases. The Netherlands has a few. Israel, Italy, Iraq, Japan, Kosovo, Kuwait, Lithuania, Poland, South Korea. What are you guys doing over there? You know, how much does this cost, right? What are you guys doing over in Germany? You know, the Nazis are long gone over there, you know. And the Nazis you guys do support are in Ukraine right now. You know, it's really amazing. Really is amazing. You're Cuba. You guys even have a base in Cuba, Guantanamo, right? An annexed part of Cuba. Now, you may say, oh, Russia's annexing Crimea. Oh. Well, what are you guys doing in Cuba then? Huh? Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, it's to flee U.S. prosecution, right? Yeah. In Djibouti, Africa. You guys are in Africa too, you know. It's amazing. Niger also had a base, right? Greece, Iceland, Italy, Japan, Poland, Romania, Singapore, right? You guys are everywhere. But no, Russia is attacking a country. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. We got to denounce that, right? Here, Netherlands. You guys are even in the Netherlands. Zelfs in Nederland is een Amerikaanse militaire luchthaven. Het is onvoorstelbaar. Qatar, Portugal, Romania, Saudi Arabia. What are you guys doing there, man? Explain this to me. Here, the UK, right? United Arab Emirates. What are you guys doing there, man? You know, it's very, very sad. And, you know, most Americans should be aware of this, right? You guys should be aware that you guys are around the globe, everywhere. You put your nose in everyone's business, right? And then you say, we need to start a war. Yeah. And the Netherlands needs to support us, right? Very, very sad to see, but this is the state of the world that we live in. Let's see what Rob Tucker says. Only alert and acknowledge people. Most are worried about sports. Yeah, exactly. Most are worried about sports or movies or you know, what's for dinner and stuff like that. You know, it's all about the ego. Feed the ego. No. It's about humanity. Do you have enough humanity inside you, right, to look at what's happening in other places? But I fear the worst, right? People don't have the compassion or the knowledge to change the world. You know, if we look at Sri Lanka, for example, it's a very well-known thing. In Sri Lanka, you had a government, and the people over there were fed up with the government, and they basically overthrew the government, right? Now, the president was under house arrest, and the president went to India and stuff like that, to avoid the justice system. But the people in Sri Lanka did not know about the power structure, So the president was replaced by the prime minister, who now declares himself president, and the minister of economics, right, is now the prime minister in Sri Lanka. So basically nothing happened. The power structure is still there, and they're not knowledgeable enough about the power structure to change it, right? They know that it's not working out, but they don't know how to fix it because they don't know the power structure. Yeah. So we are at the end of the broadcast, and of course we're going to show you guys Ollie the Octopus. They're going to get you. Who knows? Who knows? We do know that we are basically being shadow banned, right? But I don't care. I know what's going on. There are three types of people: those who have compassion for the world and its people, those who want to control the world and its people, and those who follow like lemmings and sheep. Very, very true, Robert Tucker, very, very true. So we're going to show you Ollie the Octopus, and who knows, maybe they're going to get you, maybe, maybe not, who knows. It's a never-ending battle.
Okay. Rolling.
Hello, this is Ollie the Octopus.
Hi, here we are outside the US Embassy. I'm about to play my song. It's called They're Going to Get You. We're filming them because they film us. If you don't renew your tax disc, you'll be driving at your own risk. They're going to get you. They're going to get you. They can use their Jedi mind tricks, psychometric biometrics. They're going to get you. They're going to get you. CCTV in your clamshell turning in the grave of Orwell. They're going to get you. They're going to get you. DNA no longer your own because they've mapped out your genome. Be careful what you say when you're on the phone, because they know where you live, them, and when you're on your own. Daddies, watch your daughters, there's Prozac in the water. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. Don't start a revolution, they'll get you with their air pollution. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. Because you think we are paranoid, their forces are still deployed. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. They get your details in the docu, now they know you. They're going to get you. Careful what you say when you're on the phone, because they know where you live. But when you're on your own, 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 on your own. I'm gonna go over here for the last verse.
Nice one.
Good afternoon.
By the way, today I work from the police entertainment unit, here to make your day a little more exciting. Good entertainment. Have you not heard of us?
They'll look you up for them, it's not hard, so look your best on your ID card. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. They can make your life live in hell if you even mention Roswell. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. You can join in if you want. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. They're going to get you, they're going to get you. Be careful what you say when you're on the phone, because they know where you live when you're on your own. Be careful what you say, be careful when you're on the phone, because they know where you live, they know when you're on your own. Be careful what you say when you're on the phone, because they know where you live when you're on your own, 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 on your
You are allowed to clap.
Ollie the Octopus, thank you very much for that.
Sorry, just to explain, if I may, the police, you probably don't know about the police department, but it's a group of us, and what we do various things to kind of cheer up the police and get them a bit more connected to us, the ununiformed. And one of the, I'm actually the head of the police hugging department. Yeah, all right. And
No hugs?
you're not up for a hug?
Hugging makes the world a better place. Can we
So
hug
you up
you?
for a hug, sir?
Can we please hug you?
No?
But it's only a nice hug.
It's just a hug.
We're all
Go on.
we're all
Are
beautiful
you
and
allowed
unique
to?
snowflakes of Mother Nature, and
That we are, Charlie. We are beautiful and unique snowflakes of Mother Nature. And it's very sad to see that the light is dimming. Robert is right. There are three types of people. Those who have compassion for the world and its people. That's the category I fit in. Those who want control of the world and its people. Those are the opposing enemies, right? In my point of view. And those who follow like lemmings and sheep. Well, I don't follow. I make my own path. And I know what's going on. I know. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this this episode. We will be back. When is just a question. When there are many political shifts going on. We're still looking at Venezuela and Guyana. Who knows? Maybe there's going to be an annexation next year or later this year. Who knows? We're keeping an eye on the world. And let's see what Robert has to say. We are the type of people they wish to get rid of. Yes, Robert Tucker. Yes. But I'm still here. And so are you. And we are the resistance.